everyone! In the last video we talked about free testing resources and how to get exposure to different practice questions. Here we'll talk about the exam itself. As a reminder, these videos are my experience as someone who recently took the exam and 2 practice tests, but beyond that I don't have any inside secrets, just things I'd wish I'd known beforehand. We'll talk about the kinds of questions on the exam format, and then how it's graded. Let's get started. The CFP board website can be overwhelming, but a lot of good information is there if you dig around for it. One of the resources I found most helpful is the candidate handbook. In it, they almost tell you exactly what's on the test. Of course, I have hindsight bias because I already took the exam, but you can almost tell exactly what kind of questions will be based on this list, and I can see now what these were referring to on the exam. Some of the more obvious ones I'll point out, for example, the C20, the disability income, it's really likely that the test will ask you if benefits are taxable or not. Remember that disability benefits are taxable if an employer has paid the premiums because they'll use pre-tax dollars, but if a client is buying their own policy using post-tax dollars, the benefits are non-taxable. I recommend looking at this list, reading through all of them, highlighting any vocabulary that you're unfamiliar with. Another one I see is very obvious is B13. There's going to be pretty much guaranteed at least one question on education need analysis, and most likely multiple. From what I remember, there were 10 to 12, maybe 15 calculator questions, including education and retirement need analysis, amortization schedules, and uneven cash flows. Okay, another one I look at and see is like pretty obvious is G63. They're likely to ask about alimony payments and if they're taxable. And they'll probably throw in maybe a divorce before 2019 just to see if you know about that rule. They actually mail the candidate handbook to your house when you sign up for the test, but if you'd like to look at it now, you can get it through the CFP website. 2 exams, an exam format, and a lot of the information is already listed out here without going to the PDF, but you'll want to reference both of them because there's somewhat more clarity in either one. For example, this test time, it'll show you it'll explain how the test is 140 questions broken up into 4 subsections, 3 breaks, 1 long break, 2 short breaks. And I recommend for your own sanity that you take breaks, go on a walk outside, go to the bathroom, get lots of water. But it's also important to know that with those shorter 2 optional breaks, the time keeps going, and so it'll keep counting down on your test. And once you finish a section, so once you've done 40 questions and your first optional break comes up, you're not allowed to go back and review the questions that you've already done. And so you'll have to basically lock a section once you finished it, and that happens with all 4 sections. So you'll take 40 questions, lock it up, another 40-ish questions, and then you'll take your long break and that'll lock up, and then the next 2 subsections. So it happens with each of them, and it clarifies it here in that PDF. You can go down and it'll tell you how that works. Again, I highly recommend taking the practice test at least once, maybe twice, to understand how all of this plays out. In terms of how the test is graded, here's the diagnostic report that I got after taking the practice exam. This is also what you see if you fail the actual test, but you won't see if you pass. They don't release the algorithm they grade on, but just know that there's more to it than getting a certain number of questions right. You'll have to show a minimum competence in all of these domains. So for example, you can't fail tax planning and still pass the test. Once you take the test, it will tell you have a preliminary pass, and then it takes 6 weeks for the CFP board to go in, review all the questions, and then throw out any if necessary before you can get the official seal of approval. Rest assured that if it says preliminary pass, they won't curve it down until that you actually failed. If you pass, you pass. I'll end by saying that if you're unsure if you're ready for the exam, I've heard from both education course providers and CFP board leadership that you should take the test as soon as you feel ready after your study. I could tell a shift in what I was practicing and felt more confident in what I was doing. Everyone fails the practice test. It's demoralizing, but it's also so rewarding to take the CFP exam and feel confident answering a lot of the questions. If you failed, I recommend that you reach out to someone on the CFP board website on the leadership page. They're happy to talk to you about it and what the diagnostic means for you and how you could get more help. Next video, we'll talk more resources and which books I used. Until then, like and subscribe below for more.